Welcome, everybody. This is Kelly Fasterling, realtor here in Colorado Springs, and I am extremely honored today to have with me Steve Earl. Steve is the CEO and co founder of Done For You Real Estate. He's been in real estate for just about 20 years, and they're closing about 30 to 50 transactions every month. Now, I've been working with Steve and his team for over 10 years. We'll get into that story. And he has a very unique business model. And so I'm very intrigued to have you here, Steve, so you can share it a bit.
Well, I'm excited to be here, Kelly. Thank you so much for inviting me and having an opportunity to chat with you and share a little bit of, about my story.
Perfect. So I met you over 10 years ago, came out to a 2-day class that you had out there. And since then, I've used your team to purchase 20 different homes in investment markets that are not in my backyard. It truly has saved my financial well-being from where I started. And I'll get a little bit more into that story. But tell the folks here exactly what your team does and how you help people like me.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've evolved into who we are over the past 15 years, and I'll share more about our beginnings later on. But to answer your question, in a nutshell, we're a one-stop shop for individuals who are looking to invest in single-family residential rental properties. And our client is just typical people. They're not savvy real estate investors. They don't spend their time going to seminars. They don't spend their time learning all the ins and outs. They're very busy professionals, doing what they love, doing their work, whether they're firefighters or school teachers or dentists or doctors. And our clients come from every walk of life. But what they all have in common is they've realized that they need to have real estate as part of their investment portfolio. And so we pretty much do everything A to Z. We do 90% of the heavy lifting. If any of you have ever done real estate investing, you know that it can be a little bit painful. And so our goal is to take most of the pain and the time and the energy and effort and resources out of what you have to do. And so at the end of the day, that's who we are and what we do. And we have a solution for each step of the process.
Well, and you've done a tremendous job with my portfolio. And my story, I went through 2001 and 2008, losing half my assets both times, twice. 2006, got divorced and got to give some away. And then here I was, financially liable for my 3 kids, 100%. And I was in a turmoil with my finances, went through all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki education, spent $26,000 on education. So I was one of those, and actually did my own home. But in the end, I couldn't find that next one. And when I came across you guys, you do them in different markets. Talk a little bit about the different markets and why you picked the markets that you picked.
Yeah. Typically real estate is very geographically limiting. Most people are in a situation or scenario where they can really only do real estate in their own backyard because they just don't have kind of the team in place. And so that's how I started out, right? I started out back in 2005, buying my own investment properties and just doing it here locally. And as we evolved over time, we realized that, I live in Utah, and
Yeah.
I realized that there were other markets across the country that were a little more conducive to my scenario. I was just a regular person trying to, invest in real estate. And I found that in some other markets, there were some really good opportunities. And so we kind of took a next step, and the way that we figured out how to look at a market and vet a market and choose a market is we came up with about 32 different criteria, all the way from what's the average purchase price? What's the investment climate like? Is it a landlord friendly state?
Right.
Is it a state that's friendly in terms of doing business? Is it an area where there's growth? Growth, like population growth, is the number one indicator of real estate values going up. And so we created this kind of list of criteria, and we figured out we vet in the beginning when we decided to start investing in real estate outside of Utah. We came up with 10 different cities that we thought would be good cities. And we went through this analysis and we ranked each city and we determined, okay, here's the number one city where we think it could be good.
Okay.
And then we started the kind of the process of looking into, okay, what would it take to purchase real estate out of state? And that was the beginnings. But that's how we choose a market. We go through a very extensive process to determine, you know, is this a good market where we could be and should be buying?
Well, and I found for me personally, I'm in Colorado Springs. And when I was buying here in Colorado Springs, the amount I'd have to pay for the rent I would get didn't make as much sense as the markets you're in, where I can pay much less and still get that same or a comparable rent. And I'd be paying half the price in those markets. And it just started to add up to a great cash flow situation, a great appreciation situation. And then, of course, there are a whole lot of other benefits. So talk to me about some of the benefits for folks that maybe aren't real estate savvy and aren't doing it yet. Why should somebody consider doing real estate? What does it offer them?
Yeah. So real estate is an amazing asset class. It's a physical asset. It's tangible, and that's in and of itself. That's one reason for investing in real estate. And there are a multitude of reasons, but I'll go ahead and I'll list a few of them.
Okay.
So real estate has multiple streams of income. So first and foremost, you mentioned one of those, and that is the monthly cash flow. So if you're buying a property and you have a mortgage payment, and then you have your expenses involved with doing real estate, you want to kind of figure out, well, what's my net positive cash flow going to be? And so that's what we call our cash on cash return. So that's one of the revenue streams. Another revenue stream is every single month your tenant is paying down your mortgage balance. And
Right.
so there's what's called principal pay down. That's literally money that is yours every single month. So if your monthly payment is $1,200 and they're contributing, call it $350 towards the principal balance, that is money in your bank account. Another revenue stream is depreciation. So because you own an asset that can be depreciated,
Right.
there's the ability to take that expense off of your tax bill every year. Like that's literally dollars in your pocket. Every year, your tax bill is significantly lower because you wrote off the depreciation.
Yes.
And then there's the big one, which is appreciation. So we are advocates of holding on to real estate for a minimum 5 to 7 years. So there's lots of different ways to do real estate. In fact, when I got into real estate for the first time, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I dabbled in all kinds of different real estate strategies, and I ultimately landed on long-term rentals. And so in my mind, at least with our strategy, you want to hold on to a property for 5 to 10 years. And typically our clients, right around that 5 to 6 year time period, they've created enough cash and equity that they can take that property, either sell it, do a 1031 exchange, or they can refinance it and they can go and buy a second property or buy two properties. And
Right.
that's the essence of what we do. And so those are the revenue streams and the opportunities. I want to touch on one more, because anybody who's listening to this or watching right now who is a real estate professional, there is something that we are afforded as real estate professionals that no other class of business owner gets to take advantage of. And that is accelerated depreciation based on a cost segregation analysis, where literally in that first year of ownership, you get to depreciate because you're segregating the different elements of the property
Right.
that have different depreciation schedules. And you literally, if you are a real estate professional, just let me say this, based on current tax law, you should never pay income tax ever again. That's the reality of it.
Wow.
I took advantage of 4 properties that I bought last year. I did the cost segregation analysis and saved a significant amount. And I mean, So, I mean, tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in tax savings. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, that real estate professionals don't know. So that's your little nugget for the day, that if you are a real estate professional, you need to be buying real estate on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Just especially if you're one of those high income earners and you can kind of reduce that tax picture.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, and I want to touch back on the appreciation value and the benefit. Now, all of my houses with you have cash flowed,
Yep.
but on the appreciation side, I started with two houses back over 10 years ago. Started with two houses, and because they grew, and because some I could sell and then take that one and buy two, and others I could refinance and take that extra money and buy another, it had afforded me the opportunity to grow that portfolio upwards of 20 houses. So again, that's my story, and it's put me in a position now that I don't worry about where retirement is on the horizon. Whereas before, before I met you, I did. But
Yeah.
you have a couple amazing stories with some other people that are kind of both ends of the spectrum. Talk to me a little bit about Ron.
Yeah. So, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, and it's really it's the most satisfying part of this job. It's really fun to be in business, but it's really fun to be in a business that makes such a significant difference in people's lives. Something that they weren't aware of before, that literally changed the way that they look at their financial life and affords them opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And so I think you're referring to Ron Diviak. He was a client. He has passed away recently last year, uh, but he was a client. He came to us about 11, 12 years ago, and um, so he was a school teacher and he was a basketball coach. In fact, he was a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. He was inducted twice. Just the nicest, most incredible human being, and he blessed the lives of many young people throughout his teaching career and coaching career. But he never made a lot of money, quite frankly. And when he came to us, he was so concerned about his future. He has a special needs son, and he just didn't know how he was going to be able to take care of him once he was gone. Ron didn't find us until he was in his early 70s,
Wow,
and
wow,
was not prepared for retirement. And he decided to give this real estate investing a shot, and he bought one home with us just to kind of test it,
yeah,
and it worked. And so a couple of years later, he came back and bought another one and bought another one. And over the course of those 10, 11 years, he purchased, I think, 11 or 12 properties with us,
right.
and was actually able to move from Indiana. He retired in Colorado, would have never been able to have done that. And it changed his financial future through the cash flow, through the appreciation, through building this portfolio. And quite frankly, that is our goal for our clients, is to build a 10 property portfolio, and that helps you create economic independence. And that's what Ron did. And he used to say, I used to have nightmares about retirement. And um, and then he would say, and now I don't.
Yeah,
And so, is a very amazing story. He passed away. Um, I believe it was last year, maybe been a year and a half ago. One of our team members, who was his coach, they'd built such a strong relationship. He went out to his funeral and was there with his family. And in fact, they mentioned us, and they mentioned not us. They mentioned his real estate investing in his obituary, where one of the last things in his obituary was, in his later years, Ron found real estate and found great joy and satisfaction in it, and that was a pretty neat thing.
that's a very neat story. A very neat story. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, somebody starting at a young age. Tell me a bit about your son.
Yeah, so this one kind of hits home, right? So, my oldest son was 13 or 14 when we kind of started up this business of helping other people invest in single family homes. And he came to work for us. He was a research specialist and analyzed properties and opportunities. And one day he came to me. He was probably 15 at the time, and he was like, "Dad, when am I going to get my game plan? I want to buy some real estate." And it's like, "Well, you better start saving up some money then." So he was able to save up about $20,000 by the time he was 19 years old. And at that time, the market had crashed. It was like 2009. And so property values had really dropped. and we had moved into the Arizona market where homes had dropped significantly in value.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he was able to buy his first home. He bought it for like $84,000. He put 20% down. He had a little bit of money to fix it up. And that home happened to cash flow about $400 a month. Fast forward 2 years, Dallin, what my son's name was Dallin, is Dallin, and he's like, hey, like I know that my home was appreciated a little bit, Dad. And at the end of the day, in 2 years, it actually had appreciated about $72,000.
Almost double.
Yeah, the market was recovering significantly at
Wow.
that time. And he's like, hey, what should I do? I was like, well, what are your goals? He's like, well, I want to own ultimately 8 properties. I was like, well, then don't sell it, refinance it. And at this time, he was in college because was starting college, and he was like, should I sell the home and use that to pay for college or what? And I was like, well, no, refinance your home and take the equity and buy another home. So he graduated from college. Well, actually, I'll back up a little bit. So while he's in college, he decided to get married, and so one of the properties he bought was a duplex, is an older home that had a basement apartment. So he bought this home, rented the upstairs, lived in the basement, and lived almost for free because the upstairs unit paid for almost their home mortgage. Then he went off to law school, and 3 years later, he took he sold one property and refinanced another one, and he bought 2 more. And then since then, he's bought another one. So he has 8 doors now. He's now 32. So it's like, 12-ish years later.
Yeah.
But he's got these 8 properties. And I was asking his wife just probably a couple months ago, I was like, hey, so have you ever sat down and figured out how much equity you have in these homes? And she was like, yeah, I look at that regularly. And she's like, $924,000.
At 32.
Over the course of about 11, 12 years, he took $20,000 and turned it into almost $1 million. And obviously today you can't get into a home for $20,000.
Unfortunately.
Closer to about $80,000, but it's all relative. And it works as well today as it did, 10, 11, 12 years ago. And that's what our clients are doing. And we still are finding great properties for under that $300,000 mark, right around our average purchase price is about $285,000, $290,000 or so. And so anyways, that's the story of my own son. And so whether you're young or you're old, there's always an opportunity to get started. And what you can do in 10 to 15 years is nothing short of incredible.
It has been. It has been. And frankly, without a lot of effort. Now, having gone down the rich dad, poor dad path and knowing how to do it and doing it myself, when I saw this model, some of my first concern was the loss of control. But then once I got into it and I saw how much I could do and leverage and how quickly I could go, I know you don't like my story, and that I can truly find a house now in five minutes, truly in 5 minutes. I look at the numbers, put it in my spreadsheet, and go walk the streets on Google Maps. But other than that, for an average client, talk about the process as people work with you, the coach, the system, the what they get, and then what they have to do, what they own.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our business comes mainly from 3 sources: word of mouth referral and repeat customers. More than half of our business is just repeat customers coming back again and again. And then we do some marketing and we get some new customers that way.
Right.
And the process for a new client coming in who's never worked with us before is they go through a bit of education. They learn enough to be able to make good decisions. And of course, we're there to help them and coach them along the way. So once they get enough education and they're like, hey, I think I'm ready to go, we take them through an onboarding process. Part of that process is getting pre-approved. So our pre-approval, it's a full doc pre-approval so that you, the client, know exactly what you can do, so that, you don't start looking at homes just to find out it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can't quite do one. Or it's like, we help you put together a plan. So if you can do 2, we'll help you do 2 and or more, or whatever the case may be. So once they're pre-approved, the next step is they get assigned an acquisition coach. They learn more about the markets, and then they choose where they want to buy. And their coach helps them through that process. Then we introduce them to our designated market agent. who works with us as a team member in whatever market. And we're currently in Indiana, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, North Carolina, Dallas, Fort Worth. And those are our main markets right now. We're getting ready to expand into Atlanta and some other cities in Florida. And so then the client begins shopping. We call it the shopping process. It's kind of fun.
It
And
is
we
fun.
have a whole acquisition team. The agent sends the information when they find a property that they think might work. They send that information over to our acquisition team. The property goes through an underwriting process, and we either approve it or reject it. If it gets approved, the agent can then present it to the client. Client makes an offer, go through that process, put it under contract, and we've qualified the client. We also provide the financing through our lending company. So we already know we've already underwritten the client. So we help them go through that process. Then we close on it. Then we transition them from buyer to owner, introduce them to property management, and then they own the property, and we help the client throughout the next several years of ownership. So we meet with them at least annually to do a property market review.
Right.
And to help them through, questions or concerns. There's always some of that pain that I talked about, property management issues, and we're a part of that process as well. So it's not like we help you buy the property and then we let you go. It's like we help you buy the property and then we're with you for the whole way.
Right, right. It has been a tremendous process. And for me, truly, I have an accountant because I have enough properties that she works with my property managers to review the bills and things like that. But I truly spend about an hour a month on my properties at this point, and that purchase process is very seamless for me today. Now, having done it myself, that's not a seamless process for people. So anyone that has gone out there and tried to evaluate a market and evaluate a home and rehab it and then put the renter in and do all that work themselves knows the value of what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, it's pretty involved. Like when you just kind of think about it, like surface level, it's like, oh, that should be pretty easy. I'll just find an agent and I'll find a property management company, and very quickly, um, people realize that there's a lot more to it. And having, it never ceases to amaze me. So we have clients in almost every state in the country,
Yeah,
and we'll take a client we have a lot of clients in Hawaii, and
yeah,
we have facilitated their ability to buy real estate here on the mainland. And so we'll have a client in Hawaii working with an acquisition coach here in Utah, buying a property in Florida. And we coordinate that whole process all the way from the buying or finding to buying to financing. And every property typically has some rehab or some upgrades. We actually deliver a lot of new construction, but even those new construction homes, we DIY them. So there's some little tricks that we know that will help the property rent a little bit more quickly that our property managers encourage. And so we have that team, the boots on the ground, that take care of all of those types of things. And like you
right.
say, it's a fairly seamless process. And so it's pretty neat to see the fact that 98% of our clients will never physically set foot on these properties or see them physically.
Yeah,
But what they do see is the ACHs that come into their account on a monthly basis and the ongoing communication, which is absolutely key to developing, having, and maintaining that trust that is required in this type of a situation.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and as a realtor and a financial advisor, as I look at folks' portfolio and I look at the people that come to me that have a real estate portfolio, they're in such a different position. But then as a realtor too, the ability to actually create some more passive income for myself as a referral agent. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're actually in process of creating a whole certification program for our referring agents. And Kelly, you've been one of those referring agents over the years, and we haven't been as sophisticated as we are becoming in terms of that referral process, in terms of educating those clients who have chosen to take advantage. When you think about it, when you refer somebody to us, you are tied to them forever. And our clients do multiple transactions over time. And so the goal is to help agents who are referring to us create a residual transactional commission income in their business life, as
Exactly.
agents. And so that has been an important part of our business, the referrals and so on. And it's going to become even more important over the coming months and years, as we further develop that program.
Well, and as a referring realtor to Done For You, I could find them a house in Colorado Springs and I could absolutely make a higher commission. But frankly, it is not in their best interest because they can get a better deal in another state than I can give them here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And working with investors, having been one, we lowball the price. We're difficult. We go through a lot of things that make it hard on a realtor. The ability to hand that off to you to give the client a much better product than what I can provide them here in Colorado Springs, but at the same time, keep getting paid on that client over and over and over again and not having the touch points of having to go find the houses each time. It is such a win-win-win for everybody.
Well, what's really interesting is the name of our company is Done For You Real Estate. And we've always been done for you for the client, right? So we help them take care of all of that heavy lifting as a client investing in single family homes. Well, we also have that ability for agents. So just like our clients who are busy doing their profession, whatever that might be, most agents have an expertise. Most agents, like they're new home buyer experts, they're luxury experts, they're primary residential experts, they're commercial experts. They have all of this expertise and they're busy doing that. That's a part of their business that they've been building and building up.
Right.
But what if you as an agent had another arrow in your quiver? Because typically, if you just happen to be in the business and you're talking to people, the topic of investing in single family homes typically comes up. Well, imagine if you had the ability then, it's like to extend your geography, your expertise, and your ability to serve those clients that you otherwise wouldn't have the ability to do. You now have Done For You Real Estate for agents, where literally you can hand that referral off and we will do all the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to go search for a property. We take care of that. You don't have to take care of the day-to-day needs of your client. We take care of that for you. You don't have to write contracts, any of that kind of a thing. And we recently joined EXP. We've been working to become part of their organization for quite some time. And we've actually become what is known in the EXP community as a solutions provider. And specifically, we are EXP's single family home investment solution. And so now, EXP agents have the ability to, tap into our expertise, out into our network, into our whole system to offer real estate to their clients while not taking away from their core business, right? So if your core business is one of these other things, you can also help your clients with investment real estate by tapping into our services. And if you are an EXP agent, we pay a higher than normal standard commission. The industry standard is about 25%. We pay a 30% referral fee on the buyer's agent commission. And like I mentioned before, the opportunity with that client is they will forever be attached to you. So any purchase that they ever make through Done For You Real Estate, you will get paid on forever. Additionally, as you tap into the system and they're working with us, people are just more aware, right, of real estate and so on. And if that client ever comes to us and like, hey, I'm looking at doing a single family home, or I want to do something in my own backyard, in my own neighborhood, we're going to refer them back to you, the referring agent, to do that transaction. That's part of our commitment. So not only are we Done For You Real Estate for real estate investors, but we're Done For You Real Estate for real estate agents who have clients who might want to do single family home investing.
Well, and let me drive that point home a little bit. Steve Carruthers introduced me to Done For You Real Estate 10 years ago. We met at a Pine Financial happy hour. I was looking for a wholesaler in a home. He introduced me to you. I have since purchased 20 homes through Done For You Real Estate. He made a single introduction and said, hey, talk to my guys. I did. He has now earned 20 different commissions because I keep buying from you. He has not had to talk to me about any of those homes after making that original introduction. That is what it can look like for a realtor. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Now, you did mention you've come into EXP. We've been talking a long time about the value proposition of EXP Realty for your organization. Now that you're here, now that you're a part of the home, tell me why. Why did you choose to make that choice? Because that was a long decision for you, owning your own brokerage, owning your own brand. Why EXP?
Yeah, that's such a great, and I'd even call it loaded question, because there's so many benefits that EXP brings to the table, even for an organization such as myself. So I'm as far as like the done for you real estate system, I was the broker, and so all commissions, run through my license. And switching over to EXP Realty, that doesn't change. So from that standpoint, things, were status quo. But the beauty of it is, EXP has, more than 86,000 agents in their community. And we wanted to be part of the larger real estate community. Like, uh, as done for your real estate, we were kind of just this sole, alone, us against the world. And now we're part of a community where we can continue to give back. We're already scheduled to do some education in the upcoming weeks, and so we're excited to be able to give back to our community and to educate and help, our EXP brothers and sisters learn more about real estate investing, not only for their clients but for themselves, and the power that can bring into their lives. And then EXP itself, there are, if there's agents listening to this, there are so many benefits, all the way from earning, company stock. That's one of the other things I thought is so amazing, is our ability to, earn and invest in stock in a publicly traded company, in a company that's the fastest growing real estate brokerage on the planet, quite frankly. To
Yeah.
be a part of that, the power of EXP's name, and um, the I don't know, the collateral behind it. EXP Realty just has built such a well-respected brand. The fact that we get to associate our name with EXP's name, is powerful, and not just powerful, but it makes me feel good to know that we've got EXP, behind us. And they do so much training. Their virtual world, is amazing. All the different opportunities and aspects of real estate, uh, expertise there is phenomenal. And so just being a part of that larger community and being a part of such a great brand, those are some of the benefits and opportunities, and being able to associate and attend the different events, and just hang out with like-minded people. There's something powerful in hanging out with like-minded people and being able to share experiences, and it's pretty neat.
I have found my business, my personal mindset, all of that since I've been in EXP has just flourished because I'm around people that are truly making a difference in this world.
Yeah.
And it is so rewarding for me to have you as part of that team because, in my mind, you've made such a difference in my life and in my finances and folks I've known. So to have you now be able to blossom that out to a larger audience, I really, really look forward to.
Yeah, we're super excited about it, and we considered it a real opportunity. It did take some time to come over, because we had to, kind of figure out logistically how it would all work, and we wanted to do our due diligence. And
Yeah,
I've already attended, I think, three major, maybe four major events over the last little while,
yeah,
and it's been phenomenal. The people I've been able to get to know, and so it's been a great experience so far.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of support. You've had a lot of support from the
Huge.
corporate folks and all sorts of folks. Now, when you look at your background, you have three true passions. You say, although they're really six, but it's family and faith, business and real estate, running and motorcycles. We've talked a lot about the business and real estate. Talk to me a little bit about the family and faith and the running and motorcycles. How do they play in your life?
I love that. Well, I mean, family means everything to me. I have four children, and I've been married to my wife now. We've been 30, 32 years, 33 years. I should know that number, right?
You should know that number.
We'll we'll have to see whether she watches this or not. And,
Exactly.
uh, you know, our relationship is just, like any marriage, we've had our ups and downs, but in our latter years here, we're pretty much empty nesters now. And I love being with her, and I think she tolerates me really well, and we
She's
have a
a
lot of fun.
beautiful lady, just a beautiful lady.
We have a lot of fun together, and so that it's a huge blessing. And our children, they're a big part of our lives. We have 4 grandchildren now, and we're, you know, um, it's just that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, there's business and there's different things, but it boils down to those important relationships and the opportunities we have to get together and just be blessed to be together. And motorcycle riding, that brings my family together. My sons and I, we've been riding Harleys together since they were in high school. Actually, we do a couple of long cross country trips every year. My youngest daughter, has recently gotten into riding, and we have a trip planned in July, right before the July 4th holiday. We're going to go visit all the national parks, and my brother and my brother-in-law are coming down, so that's part of family, and we're doing a trip together. And riding motorcycles has become, something that I truly enjoy. A lot of people don't understand it, but so I won't get into all of the particulars of why I think it's so amazing. But I love it. I enjoy it. Every Saturday, my wife and I go down to the local Harley Davidson and we have lunch down there,
Yeah.
and she loves that atmosphere as well. So and then running, that's been a big part of my adult life. Haven't been able to run recently because of a knee injury. But it's that's another thing that's brought my family together. We've done so many road trips together to go to races, and it's just been very enjoyable. And we've done races together as my kids have joined me on races, and so it's been a big part of my life.
It all intermeshes, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, real estate for you was not your first career. You'd always been entrepreneurial, but not your first career. Tell me briefly about where you started in your career.
Yeah, so I received a degree in business management with an emphasis in organizational behavior. But as a kid, as an adult, even I've never really had a real job before. I've always just done my own thing. When I in college, I started a little painting company that over the course of years, I built it into a pretty significant business. So I was in the construction industry before I got into investing. Sold that company in 2004. But as a kid, I had paper routes and sold ice cream and Kool-Aid and uh, was a delivery boy and all kinds of different things that at the end of the day, I've just kind of always done my own thing. And with our current company, we own, as part of like the structure organization of Done For You Real Estate, it consists of several different companies that work in tandem together to deliver the services. And so business is a big passion of mine. I love business. I love being in business. I love the challenge of it. And it's all about problem solving at the end of the day, and it's something that I enjoy doing. So, being entrepreneurial minded, I love it. I love mentoring young people, helping them with their different business ideas, and providing insights and helping them avoid
Right.
mistakes that I made. Love doing that as well.
Yes. Yes. Steve, I've had a long relationship with you, and I've enjoyed your heart, your care. You have true integrity. You always do what's best, and is what I've always found. And it's been a true honor to have had this journey with you, and now to look forward to where our journey will go and what we'll be able to build with this. So I'm just very, very honored to have you as my partner. You've been my partner for years in many ways, but now as a closer liaison in the EXP world. Um, what else would you like to add today?
Well, I would just reciprocate that, Kelly. I mean, you've been a great friend for many, many years, and it's because of you that we've been made this leap over to EXP. And you've been just kind of a stalwart supporter there. You've been a great supporter of Done For You Real Estate, and a promoter and friend to the company, and a personal friend to me as well. And so I appreciate that so much. It's been fun to see your growth in your business. It's been fun to see what we've worked on together in our various companies. There's been some really great synergy, and so I really appreciate that as well. I would just say, to anybody who might be listening, um, learn enough to know in the real estate world to take advantage of the benefits. Cash flow is wonderful, but it's probably the least of all of the benefits of real estate. The tax advantages, the appreciation, the principal pay down, all of these things, the combined cash on cash returns, all of those things are just benefits. At the end of the day, this country was founded by landowners and business owners, and for good or bad, the laws of this country have been written to benefit those who are involved in business and in real estate. And I would say, take advantage of the opportunities that exist from that standpoint, and um, take that message to other people. Like, most people just don't know about what real estate can really do for them. And it's not that it has become their full-time gig, but if they're just involved in it, just owning a property, a single property, will make a massive difference. If I can just say just one more thing, Kelly, my business partner, his parents bought one property their entire lives, and it was their personal primary residence. They just retired 2 years ago. They owned the same home, lived in the same place for like 62 years or something. They bought the home for like $6,500. Well, they sold it for like nearly $800,000. That home is their retirement. It's what has allowed them to move from where they live to where they live now, to be closer to their children and their grandchildren, and it has provided the ability to live their life, not a flamboyant, crazy life, but to live a very comfortable retirement in their latter years. And that is the power of real estate. If one property can do that for you, imagine what multiple properties can do.
No question. No question, Steve. Thank you so very, very much for joining me today and for sharing from your heart. And I look forward to seeing you very soon.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
See ya.